All right, welcome back. And look at this shocking video released today by the Border Patrol. Smugglers abandoning kids at the border in New Mexico under the cover of night. And watch how it happens. Girls ages 3 and 5 left in the middle of the desert after they're dropped. They are dropped over a 14-foot border fence. Boom. There you go. 2 little kids. You're now in America. Good luck. This is what's happening at the border. Just another day with Biden at the helm on immigration. What a joke this is. The Border Patrol working with Mexican law enforcement, trying to catch these guys. I guess there is some kind of control happening down there. There they go, after dumping a couple little kids over a fence. Wow. We're going to bring in a panel to discuss this further. Representative Louis Gohmert, Congressman Gohmert from Texas, the Republican, and Mark Morgan, former acting CBP commissioner. Gentlemen, welcome. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks.
Congressman Gohmert, we're going to start with you. Your reaction to what we just watched is unbelievable.
Well, having been down there with Mark just in the last few days on our border, I can tell you, if you were to ask yourself, what can we do to make the drug cartels more powerful, more corrupt in Mexico, send more young women into sex trafficking, kill more Americans with drugs coming from Mexico, you would do exactly what this president and his administration is doing. And I mean exactly. He is doing everything, intentionally or not, to make the drug cartels more powerful, kill more Americans, get more drugs into America, more women into sex trafficking all over America. It is a disaster.
It certainly is. Mr. Morgan, you're on the ground in McAllen, Texas, another border town. You sent us a picture of these bracelets that these migrants are coming to the border with. They all have these, or a lot of them have these bracelets on. Explain the smuggling process, explain the bracelets, and what's going on here on the ground.
Look, the cartels and human smuggling organizations, they're very efficient, very effective, and they adapt and get better at what they're doing. And now since the Biden administration has turned their business back on, they're thriving, and because of the overwhelming increase in the numbers, look, they've got to get better organized, and that's what they do. So they get the family members, they get the unaccompanied minors, they put the bracelets on it. That identifies where they're going to go, who's going to be in the group, and then where they're going to pick a location to surge the families and the unaccompanied minors. And so as the congressman said, then there's other areas of the border left wide open. Drugs are pouring through, criminal aliens are pouring through, and it's working every single day as the cartels get more powerful and their bank accounts grow.
The liberal utopia. Unbelievable. Congressman Gohmert, you had some pretty harsh words for the president yesterday. Let's take a listen.
Now, I can't say President Biden is intentionally violating his oath. He's violating his oath, but I don't know if he even knows what he's doing intentionally. But regardless, he's violating his oath, and he needs to have some compassion for the people down here. Let him come down here 1, 2 a.m. and see what's going on as a result of what he's done. We owe our neighbors better.
So what's the #1 problem that needs to be fixed immediately? If you ran the show and had the autonomy, what would you do right now?
Do exactly back what President Trump had done. We would not stop building the walls where it's almost finished, almost complete, just some gaps need to be finished. Finish that off. And you've got to make clear to Mexico, we are putting tariffs back on you unless you help. And we got to make it clear to these other countries. These people are coming back to your countries. And as we have seen, as we heard from people down on the border, President Biden has invited us over and over. That's what you hear. And I love our Texas Republicans that went with us. They were not, they wanted to get out on the border. I was telling them, you got to be out there at midnight, 1, 2 a.m. And they were. And it was amazing to people that had never been there before to have these people come walking out of some of the worst rugged terrain, scraped up from the mesquite thorns, and come right up to the car. They're just looking, where do we go? And they have been abandoned. But as Mark has talked about so many times, anytime you have a group that's sent across by the drug cartels that keeps the Border Patrol occupied, you can know that either drugs or high-value customers are coming across the border when the Border Patrol is occupied.
It's unbelievable. Mark, both Congressman Babbitt and Arrington have extended an invitation to Vice President Kamala Harris to come check out the border. The governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, sent a letter with the same invitation saying, given your new role as the administration's border czar, I urge you to visit the border. To see the crisis for yourself, I implore the Biden administration to take swift action to secure the border, crack down on human trafficking, and prevent more children from being trafficked and abused. The VP doesn't seem like she has much interest at all in coming to the border. What do you make of what the White House is doing right now? It seems like they don't have a clue.
Yeah, are we shocked? I mean, come on. The vice president, the same vice president when she's senator during a congressional testimony, referred to the ICE as a KKK, called them racist. She bragged about when she was California, how she mandated and refused to allow local law enforcement to cooperate with ICE, instead return criminal aliens back into their cities, has said she wants to dismantle ICE completely and start from scratch, and has said that we should decriminalize illegal immigration. That, Vice President Harris, you know what? I'm actually okay that she's not coming to the border.
I think you might have a good point there. She's only going to make things worse, I think a lot of people would say. Congressman Gohmert, finally, AOC went on a tirade on Instagram condemning the use of the term surge when discussing the border crisis. Check it out.
Anyone who's using the term surge around you consciously is trying to invoke a militaristic frame. And that's a problem because this is not a surge. These are children, and they are not insurgents, and we are not being invaded, which, by the way, is a white supremacist idea, philosophy.
All right. So, Congressman, I mean, you try to follow these things. I mean, one thing you certainly know from the left right now is that they do not like white people. They are done with white people. What do you say to that comment?
Well, we were just down with the Border Patrol. It's probably, and Mark would know, but I believe it's the only agency where a majority of the agents of the Border Patrolmen are minorities. And I'm good with that. I think it's great. But let me tell you, I was talking to Hispanic Border Patrolmen, and they are saying we were really making progress under President Trump. And one of the higher-ranking guys said, if he had won, I would have stayed, but I'm retiring. I can't deal with this anymore. We're just being overwhelmed. Whether you want to call it a surge or an overwhelming, as the Hispanic Border Patrolmen are calling it, it is overwhelming, and it's going to overwhelm the country. Yeah, I love immigration. I want immigration. But it needs to be legal, not like this, not bringing these babies. I tell you what, if Kamala Harris would come to the border and be out there at midnight, 1, 2, 3 a.m., she would never be able to laugh as she did before about the border.
Yeah, it is something else. And I still ask, what are we going to do with all these kids? Who's adopting all of these thousands of kids? Congressman Gohmert, Mark Morgan, thank you so much. Yeah,
they're going to get in-person training is what they're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, gentlemen, thank you so much for the time. Good to see you both.